This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, so what I'm discussing now is any amount which is not part of employee compensation. So why I'm saying, okay, can you give me one example of the amount, any amount receivables by the employee which is not part of employee compensation? When I say employee compensation, it can be special allowance, car allowance, mobile allowance, and salary plan, bonus. These are all assured compensation plans. So we require to assign to the worker, then we have to bring the data into the payroll calculation engine. But any guess or any idea, what is an amount which will give additional to the worker? Of course, that is not part of compensation. Loan and
temporary parking allowances,
right, sir. Yeah, those are coming from other benefits, right?
travel allowances.
Travel allowance, that can be a benefit or allowance from the compensation. So loan or salary advance, let's say these are not part of employee compensation, correct? Loan, if employee need any personal loans, I mean employee need in any emergencies or any personal requirements, they can take loan. Some companies will provide loans. Some companies, they may offer salary advance, 2 months, 3 months, or 6 months salary advance. So these are part of employee benefits. And what we will do, we are not assigning this loan amount or salary advance amount from compensation. You have to process this amount on ad hoc basis. Okay, so how to process these amounts, that we will discuss. At the same time, we will also discuss this one. Once you give the loan amount, we have to do loan repayment as well. Loan payment, loan repayment. So repayment is nothing but a deduction amount. Repayment is nothing but a deduction amount. Okay, so normally what are the deductions the employee has? Benefit deductions, standard tax deductions. Is a standard tax deductions. Apart from that, if the employer took any salary advance or loan repayment, you need to get a deduction to adjust the amounts or to get the, I mean, to repay the amount from the employee's paycheck. So in simple, I'm trying to say ad hoc deduction, ad hoc payments. So how to process these? So for this, since we don't have compensation data about this earning or deduction, so we have a calculation and we have an object which is called payroll input, which is called payroll input. So let me put it here. Payroll input. So payroll input is a calculation where we will process any additional amount to the worker. It will identify and it will bring those data into the pay calculation engine. Okay. So let's see.
Meanwhile, you're logging in. I have one question on this same thing.
Yes, sir.
Even though it's ad hoc payment, do you have there's two ways that you can do in PeopleSoft, and predominantly this is everything is same concept. So one is like if you're doing it for like let's say 6 pay periods or 10 pay periods, we call it like additional pay or general deduction, where we set it up goal amount, goal balance, and
Okay.
by paycheck you do this much. That is one. The other
Right.
one is directly do the manual entry on the, we call it pay lines.
Okay.
So
Here the second approach, sir. Ad hoc one.
okay. So
Yeah.
it is completely you are telling about one time.
One time. Correct. Good one. Yeah. Any one-time payments we can process through this payroll input. Yes.
You didn't explain that for a period of payment that should also be there,
For period of payment, you're
like a
talking about pay balances.
goal amount, goal balance, or something.
Right, right. So the terms are quite different here, sir. We have pay balance. Instead of goal amount, we'll say pay balance.
Yeah. So
I'm going to discuss that scenario. First, we'll
okay.
create it.
I thought I
During,
missed it last week.
no. First, we'll create and process. Then during deduction, I'm going to touch that point. Okay. Yeah. first thing I would like to, so what we have to do here is, so loan payment is nothing but an earning. Since your processing is an earning, is nothing but an earning. For this, I will create an earning. It's pretty simple earning. Okay. The request, once this class is done, compare our last recording with this recording, you will get a clear idea. Create earning. So I will use some naming convention here. Let me call it app loan payment. So with the help of this earning, I'm going to process loan. Okay. Similarly, I'm giving code, access the reference ID, and I'm restricted to country USA. Now, while we in the last session we discussed the compensation. When we bring the salary into the payroll calculation engine, the eligibility rules, the calculations, whatever we select is quite different. Here, for this one-time payments, the eligibility rules, calculation is also different. Let's see. So I'm giving effective date 1/1/2020 and run category. Limited to this run category. Now here is the important part. Who is eligible for this loan payment? Who is eligible for this loan payment? So here just enter Workday delivered calculation or also rule. Just enter payroll input. You can see a multiple payroll inputs, and it's something like one-time exists for pay component, ongoing exists for pay component, or ongoing exists for pay component sub period, payroll input exists for pay component, etc. etc. Question. So you're giving loan to an employee. Is it an ongoing or a one-time?
One time.
It's a one time.
One. Right, sir. Right now. It's a one-time payment. It's not an ongoing, correct?
Yeah.
Then when you want to give this loan amount, you want to give as part of the salary, or are you going to do you want to process as part of ad hoc process in mid of the month? So here we have two things, especially when absence and payroll you're working, right? We have three things to remember. One is period start date, period end date. Another one is sub period. Let's take an example. Let's say November. November has calendar days. First to, I'll take some numbers, 15th, mid of the month, 30th, let's say this is the end of the month. So when you want to give the salary amount, when you want to give this loan amount to an employee, okay, when you select period start date, of course for payroll input there is no specific period start date, period end date. Okay, whenever you're selecting, apart from sub period, sorry, 1 second, I'll give an example. If you're not selecting sub period here, automatically it checks the employee, automatically checks the date whatever you're giving in the payroll input, based on that it will process. Sub period means in middle of the month, between these two dates, 1 to 30th, at any given time, if you want to process the payroll input, then you require to select sub period. If you want to process, right, sir. If you want to process first of the month, or if you want to process 30th of the month, end of the month, first of the month, we already have a delivered calc. It will consider the date. Whenever you select sub period means mid of the month you are processing. It can be after first to before 30th any date. So here we should be little clear. The reason I'm saying is, though you selected and process, the amount may not come into the paycheck. So select the right one. Let's say in our scenario, I want to give this loan amount as per the employee salary. Hence, I am selecting payroll input exist for pay component, which means see the all our Workday delivered is not configured by any. Return true if one-time input for worker exists for the worker or pay component pay period. Why I'm selecting is it will meet almost three requirements. If you assign this payroll input for worker, it will match. Or if you assign this payroll input worker through the pay component, it will match. Pay period also can be matched. So I always prefer if I give one time with this one. Payroll input exists for pay component. Okay. So we have scenarios. We'll discuss remaining. So this is the eligibility I'm saying. So what I'm saying, the employee who is having payroll input, that employee is eligible for this loan amount. Any questions, sir? Yeah.
Yes, I had, sorry, Kiran, I had a question.
Yes,
There were
please.
two similar, one which with sub period. So if we select with sub period, what will happen?
Sub period, what will happen, ma'am? It's when you select me sub period. Just a second. We tested all these scenarios.
What I have understood, if we select this one, the day we are processing, that day it will be paid. And
Right.
in sub period, we have to select a date when we have
Mid of the month. Correct. Correct. So if you want to process at mid of the month and ad hoc basis, you can select sub period. If you want to process as part of salary, then you can select payroll input one time exist for pay component. That's it. Okay.
Okay, so this one
I'll
will
give
be
you an
paid
example.
along with salary.
Right. If I select sub here and if I give the effective date equal to November 1st, it won't process, man, because it will check the sub period date, not the start of date. So, okay. Calculations. Here you have a challenge. Here you have a challenge like, is it a one-time payment or an ongoing start of period, end of period, sub period? But here, when you select the payroll input, ensure select the payroll input calculation. This is also delivered by Workday. We are going to talk today about calculations. You'll get a clear idea. This is a Workday owned and Workday delivered calculation. So what it will tell is, see this comment, please. This we will discuss during our hourly pay. We are going to talk about the related calculation. This will discuss in hourly pay, during hourly pay. Okay, if you are giving any deduction or any earning and you're processing that earning or deduction through the payroll input, thumb rule, ensure your calculation must be selected as a payroll input, and also select input amount allowed, so that you will get an amount drop down while assigning the payroll input. This also we have to select. Okay, fine. So I'm not overriding the frequency since I'm processing through the salary. Ad hoc I'm not giving, hence I'm not overriding the frequency for this earning. Okay, if I set sub period, then I may require to override as per ad hoc process. So I'm not overriding it. Then rest of things is not required since it's just an ad hoc payment and one-time payment. Ignore and go to. Okay, let me do one thing. I'll select OK. I will ask a question. It helps us to troubleshoot. A simple earning is now ready. Now go to the one employee who is part of the pay group what we created. Just to find an employee and go to the pay group. Here in this end, the financial setup is not configured, or even we don't have security. That's why we are seeing errors, especially financial related. That's fine. So here we have worker, Mr. David Faisal. I'm selecting on worker. I'm navigating to the work related actions. And then just to check currently for which period his payroll is processing, so that I want to process in the same period this loan amount. So I will select pay tab here just to check the dates. So 1/31/2020 it's currently in error. The error is because of the general ledgers are not been set up in this tenant, that causing an error, so that we have to fix accounting. So that's fine, not a problem. It's not about payroll related, but still I'll try to fix it by taking some help from finance team. Now in this month 1/20/20 1/31 already payroll is in progress. It's error actually, but still is in progress, not completed. I want to bring this I want to bring this loan amount on this pay calculation, pay result 1/1/2020. Okay. Before that, let me show you on the payslip so you'll get the idea. Sorry, select this one, magnify pay result, view payslip. Now see under earnings, the day we tested baseband, we get car allowance. There is no loan payment. Now the expectation, once I process a loan payment should come under earnings. That's an expectation. Okay, let's see how to do that. Go to the pay, and here you have more options. Select, and that you have an option called input. Here you can select add or select the worker related actions. And then navigate to the payroll. Here you have an option add input, or this is second option. Third option, add payroll input is the task. Okay, you can also do add payroll input for worker. Okay, this is also a task. With the help of this also we can do worker related action, also we can do through pay tab, we can do also task also we have. So either way, one of the option we have to select. So select add here. I'm assigning through the pay tab or pay profile. So the current payroll results are still in error, or let's say in progress. I want to test only for that period. So I'm giving 1/1/2020 and end of date. Remember, when you select one-time payment, Workday force you to enter the end date. Since you select it's a one-time payment, you have to enter end date. Okay. So if it is ongoing, you may not give the end date. You can ignore it, or you can still give with the future date. Let me show one example. So pay component, okay, and here search for the pay component, the one we created, app loan payment. Okay, now see the app loan payment earning water we create is available. Select this, and I'm saying it's a one-time payment. Processing defaults one-time payment, no override, no adjustments, none of the above. And I would like to process this amount as part of employee regular run, because I told you one thing, I'm not overriding the employee current frequency at earning level. I want to pay through regular salary. So I'm selecting regular run category. Okay, one-time payment, a regular run category, and select OK. Scroll down. Okay, so here we have few columns. Batch ID is optional. So what do you mean by batch ID? So normally the conversion team may load a number of payroll inputs for each worker or for multiple workers. For example, in 1 month, they want to load 1,000 payroll inputs for 1,000 employees. We cannot do manually. We have to do through some help with the conversion team, right? So what they will do, they will create a batch ID, and we may require to create a batch ID, and we'll provide that ID. So the ID acts as a reference for all the payroll input they will load it. What is the purpose of batch ID? Assume for 100 employees, we have loaded payroll input loan payment. Later, we realized the file whatever they are given to load the payroll input is incorrect. And they said, we will give the new payroll input file. You proceed with that. By the time we already loaded, now what we have to do? We cannot go each and every worker and remove the one-time payment, correct? So there should be a one go where we can remove all the payroll input from the worker. That is nothing but a batch ID. It's a reference ID which is applicable for all 100 payroll inputs for 100 employees. With the help of this reference ID, you can delete the payroll input from all the workers. But remember, once the payroll is in progress, we cannot delete. Before initiating only, we are able to delete. Okay, so this will be applicable when you're doing a mass load. Okay, right. So end date I'm not giving, but I'm expecting an error here. Ignore. I will, in a while we will see this. Any idea why we have position information here? How position is related to a run category? I mean, payroll input. How company related to the payroll input? Any guess? Okay, no worries. Sometimes an
Maybe
employee
it
may be
is,
an international.
yeah,
Sorry, sir.
security related, that supervisor or somebody only can enter.
No, sir. Sometimes an employee might be an IA, international assignment. In such cases, or let's say another example, simple example, an employee might be in additional job,
Okay.
right? Add job, additional job. In that cases, the employee will work on two positions, right? So prior to give you, I know. So since you already work on the payroll, you have an idea. I'll just go with one simple example for Priya.
Yeah, I know that concurrent jobs we call it.
Right, sir. So Priya, let's say we have a manager position. Okay, in this manager position, we have an employee called Mr. John. And at the same time, let's say this is IT manager. Okay, let me call it as marketing manager to make it simple. And the other side, there is some other organization in the same organization. We have another role called production manager, production line manager, or HR manager. So what are the role? Okay, and his name is Mr. Henry. So what happened? Henry resigned for the job. Okay, and he terminated. So now the HR team is trying their best to find some resource for product line manager, but they're not finding any employee. Now who will take care of this position until some new employee will come? Now what I will do, if I'm a director, I will ask Mr. John, hey John, please take care of this position as well. Please take care of this position, product line manager. We are already searching for a resource. So until, please take care of this. You work 0.5% here, 0.5% here, 50% FT. So what I did, one employee, I moved the one employee into two different positions. I mean, in another position. One employee working in two different positions. Correct? So now the question. So for which position you want to process this loan amount? That's why we have position information here. Currently, we have only one position. You no need to select it or ignore. If you see two positions, then you have to mandatorily have to select. Not mandatory, not mandatory. So we have to set one position at least. If you're not selecting here, by default, you consider primary position. So in this scenario, which is the primary position for John? Marketing manager or production line manager? This is the one. Is a primary position. If you're not selecting, by default, you assume you're processing a primary position. So that's why we have position information. Most of the times, the customers will ask this question: why do we need to? Every time do we need to give position? No. If the employee is an additional job, then no need to. Okay. So company by default, since the person is part of only one company, we don't need to select, ignore. But if the employee has two positions and this another position for different company, you require to select. Okay, and this is, please ignore since we already selected here. Special no override option, ignore. Override adjustment special entry we will discuss. And wherever you see work tax, remember work tax are not related to payroll. Work tax are trackers, or you can say reference IDs for financial systems. Okay, for financial people, they will create some work tax to track whom they process the loan, how many employees they process the loan, some details if they want. They may ask us to map the work tax here called loan. Okay, this is purely optional, not mandatory. I'm not sure whether they created here, but I will check. Is there any finance is not configured in this tenant? Yeah, they are not configured. Ignore this one. So this is wherever see work tag, which is related to the financials, you're required to map the work tag here. Why? Why do we need to map? Where we will see this information? The payroll perspective, know where we can see this information. But whenever they generate the report on the work tag, the financial team can see. Okay, it will fetch us how much amount you're processing, who is an employee, at what date we are processing, is it processing for regular run or we are overriding the frequency, everything can be tracked, okay, for reporting purpose. Okay, now here, select the arrow button. This is the important area. So you remember we selected input amount allowed on the earning checkbox. So amount is already available. And then how much you want to process a loan amount, that amount you have to enter here. So let's say I want to process $10,000. Okay, and you can give a comment here. So in the payroll input, we cannot get this information in the payslip, but it will be available for the worker payroll input. Just to review what is this payment, we can see this comment. Some comment available. Our loan amount has been approved for $10,000. Okay. So since we already selected regular run category, no need to specify additional information. Ignore and select
What
OK.
is the difference between override and adjustment?
Adjustments and over. We will talk about this one. Again, I have to give some scenario. Adjustments, overrides, and special category also we have. This tomorrow I will talk about this one. At the same time, even I want to check for more examples on this. Is it okay?
Okay.
So override, I can give one example right away. Since you asked a question, it's nothing but already processed 10,000. Okay, payroll is not completed yet. In between, I got a request, immediate request, ad hoc request, give the amount to the $5,000. So what I can do, I have to override 10,000 to 5,000. Adjustments when we will do is, if you pay more amount, if you pay less amount, you require to do some adjustments. Okay, at that time we will do this. I will take some scenarios into my session on these three: special, override, adjustment, input payroll amount allowed. Okay, now see, we got an error. So let's see this error. What is this error? End date is required since you have selected a one-time payroll import. So as I told, when you set to payroll one-time payment, though the field is not mandatory, you require to input the end date also. Okay. Right. Select OK, which means an amount where we have not assigned as a compensation to a worker, we are giving on an ad hoc basis or along with the salary basis through the payroll input. Now this is the payroll input. This is how it looks. Okay, you can edit it. You can also delete if you think by mistakenly assigned to this worker. Select the related actions here. Navigate to payroll input. Delete it if you want. Okay. Now we'll test this one. How to test it? Do we need to run the payroll for this worker? Not required. Since we already initiated last week, a payroll is in progress and in error, you can still have an option to recalculate. So what we can do, select the more option here, go to the worker pay results and select the pay result, the magnifier, related actions. Now get to pay calculation. Here you have an option recalculate. Okay. So which period you want to recalculate, select the period, recalculate, magnifier, related actions, pay calculations, recalculate. So we are recalculating the current pages for the worker. Okay, if you see the gross amount increased to 10,000, which means it has been successfully processed. As I said, error kindly ignore is some payroll accounting related error. So let's see whether it's bringing the amount or something goes wrong in the configuration. Now I recalculated, but I'm not seeing any amount has been increased here. Again, I'm recalculating. I'm not seeing this one. I mean, since the amount is not adding. Any reason? I did one mistake intentionally. It's not mistake, just to check. I give an option. I mean, just want to tell you, like, if you miss something and this particular configuration, you won't see the result here. Any guess?
You didn't add to gross or something?
Correct, sir. That's correct answer. We have not added the gross at the earning level. That's why we're not able to see. So now go back, add the gross and come back here. Returning. App, non-payment. So make sure when you're creating a earning a deduction, if you would like to bring that amount is a deduction amount or earning amount on the wage or pay slip, we must assign the groups here. Okay. Add to gross. Okay. Now go ahead and test again. Let's see now. Recalculate again. Pay calculation. Recalculate. Now let's see the amount. Here is 9965. I'm expecting it should be $19,000. Select OK. I'm still not seeing that one. Recalculate again. Let's see the payslip. It's not coming into the payslip. So let's troubleshoot. Good luck. Now it helps us to learn little. Okay. So first thing, how to start the troubleshooting. Since I already added add to gross, which means it should process. Now what I have to check? So I have to check first whether this earning is coming to the actuals or not. Where I can see this is employee pay results data. Scroll down here. Here you have an option called actuals. Select and go one after another. Let's see whether the payroll input is coming here or not. Base pay, car allowance is not coming. So what I'm seeing here, the loan amount is not coming into this worker. So let me. Yes, sir. Any guess or any catch? Yes, sir.
Actually, in PeopleSoft, that the previous calculation don't have any issues.
Right.
Even if you make config changes, which you have done now, sometimes it will not pull. So basically, you have to touch the pay line from a PeopleSoft perspective, but I'm not sure about Workday. You did make changes to the configuration, not the pay entries.
Right. True. Sometimes when you initiate, since still it is in error mode, I already told them, please ask some finance person to work on that. So maybe let me do one thing, sir. So what I'm gonna do now,
Yeah, I
I
got
will
that idea.
initiate.
That also, it is still error mode. Why it didn't pick it up? But I'm not sure. That's why I raised this.
That's why what I will do here, I will initiate run pay cancel. Okay, I'm just canceling the pay results for the worker and enter pay group now. I'll reinitiate it. If there anything is, it will refresh and will get the details. So if you ask me, is it 100% fixed? Absolutely no. It just a hit and run. Actually, in this scenario, what we're supposed to do is we have to verify whether the employee is eligible or not. But I'm confident the employee is eligible. Since we have configured all the details, payroll input, everything, this employee is eligible and I can see the payroll input. So once I will cancel, then I'll initiate back this one. Just a second. DMD. This is not the playbook, the one we created. Yeah. So I cancel the entire payroll. Again, I'm going to reinitiate it. Since 2 employees, it will just in 1 minute it will be complete. We will discuss the end-to-end payroll process. First, so we go step by step. You can still see it's not bringing the details. No change. Now let's troubleshoot why it's not working. So how I'm going to troubleshoot? So first I will check the worker eligibility. Pay 120 this month I'm processing. Okay, currently this employee has payroll in progress results for this month. So I'll check the payroll input date should match with these dates. 1/1/2020, 1/1/2020, 1/31. Same 1 month we are processing. One time payment, $10,000. There is no limit. Now I'll go to the earning. I think because the same naming convention, I might have selected the other run category. That's why eligibility may not be matching. Let me give a try here. No, we selected correct one only. Just hit and try it. We'll check now. I'm thinking the eligibility is not matching, so we'll test. No luck. Actually, this has to be taken with financial team. Honestly, even I don't have much idea on this. Okay, so now I will do one thing. So this is our test employee. Say some financial issues are, financial control is not done in this tenant. That might be the issue. Now what I will do now, I will go to some other worker who is belongs to different pay group, different run category, who don't have any errors. We'll check them. We'll test that one there. So that we, so why I'm doing this one is just to ensure whether the issue is with the earning or whether the issue with the worker, since the worker is in error. So that I have to check. So I'll go to his one of the team. I'll go to Mr. We'll go to Argela or Isabel. Okay. So I will see her current pay results when it has been run in the system. Semi-monthly. Okay, I'm going to test our pay input here. Two 2014, we created 2020. One 2014, 115 2014. When it calculates phase requires recalculation means it's identifying. So let me do one thing. I'll change the run category. First, let me show her payslip. Okay, there's no lower amount. So whenever the payroll is in progress, and if you do any changes like add a payroll input, override the amount, remove the payroll input, Workday automatically identifies request recalculation. So for this work, the payroll is in progress, and we assigned the payroll input. Hence, it asking us to recalculate. Now see, should process 3,000. We'll see if it is 13,000 or not. It's bringing the amount, it seems. If it takes few minutes, it's getting the details. Oh no. Wrong.
So are we continuing more than 1 hour today or 1 hour?